Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. All praises due to Allah, the master of the whole universe. And I bear witness that there is no God worthy of our worship except Allah, the creator, the sustainer, the provider, the cherisher, the one who created us to worship him. And I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and we are sending our blessings and our salutations to all the prophets and the messengers of Allah, starting Adam all the way down to Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Isaac, Joseph, Aaron, David, Solomon, all the prophets and the messengers of God. Thank you all for inviting me. Thank you, Anna, for the invitation, and I'm really so excited and happy to come for the first time. Yeah, I went to many churches in Pasco County before, and we celebrated many events before, but it's the first time for me to be here. That's why I feel so excited. And during my drive to the facility, my son used to ask me, you know, is that the same church that we went before? I said, no, it's a different one. It's a new one. That's why I'm so excited and really so happy to be with you here. And of course, it is the time that we come. And I like this application that the pastor mentioned, that we are brothers and sisters, at least in humanity, and we have lots of things in common together. And really it is, for me, it's my honor to represent the Islamic Center of New Richey, and also to represent the oldest Islamic university, Al-Azhar University in Egypt. It's my honor to be here and listening, also learning from your comments and your questions by the end of this session. And I hope that this time you will find it, the enjoyment, the education, the knowledge, that it might surprise you a little bit, and it might, you know, bring benefit to our life. And I will do my best as a person who came recently to the United States, not too long, almost less than 4 years. And before these 4 years, I didn't practice English before, by the way. So I will try to do my best. So in just very short time, I tried to get the proper words and some of the accents, and excuse me, of course, for the accent, very big gap in the accent, but at least we try. Of course, the mother tongue is Arabic, and English is the second one, and the third one is Dutch. As I studied Dutch, I studied the German language in like 5 years in my university as a second language. And as we agreed upon during the discussion related to this topic, related to this session, that we will give a little bit of overview about Islam as a religion, then we will jump into the crucial topic, which is related to the women in Islam, or rights of women, how Islam looked at women, and lots of things. I think that we have lots of people are hearing about Islam, but they did not read about Islam. They do not have, let's say, the fully background about Islam. They just got some words from here and there, and sometimes without being authentic reference. And most of them do not hear from Muslims. And that's the most important, you know, dangerous part. They hear from a third party, from somebody else, but they don't know Islam. And I have heard, since I came to the United States, I have heard lots of comments about, you know, describing Islam as idolatry, or those people are worshiping idols or pagans, and they worship a sacred place, or a black stone in Saudi Arabia, and all this stuff. So let me be honest with you. Since I came, I found lots of misconceptions, misinterpretations, misrepresentation to the religion of Islam. So I think maybe it's a good chance for lots of people to understand and to know more about Islam. Of course, it's very hard in this very short time to give you a little, like like overview about the whole details of the religion itself. But I can start by this statement. I can tell you that we have things in common, many things in common than whatever you can imagine. Many things in common that you believe in and I believe in. And the things that from a person, or let's say a scholar who studied the comparative religion, I studied the Bible, I studied the Gospel, I studied the Old Testament, the New Testament, I studied the David's songs, I studied the scriptures, some of the statements of the scriptures of Abraham. So I can tell you, that will surprise you a lot, that we have many things in common. It could reach to up to 90%. From 90 to 95%, that we have many things in common. So, for example, Islam as a religion is the religion of monotheism. So we are monotheistics. We believe in the oneness of God. We believe, as Christianity, as Judaism, about that we have one creator. The creator, the sustainer, the provider, the cherisher is one. So we believe in the oneness of God. And we believe that He means God, worth of our total submission and total surrender to His commands. So we believe that there is a creator. That creator give us some instructions. Like we could say, as I was explaining yesterday to my two daughters, that we have the manual. The manual came from God as a revelation to all the prophets and the messengers of Him. So that God has certain names, certain attributes, certain features. And no one else could have the same attributes of God. With the definition of God, that we have a particular chapter in the Quran. As you know, the Quran is our revelation, the sacred book, exactly like how you see the Bible, how other people in Judaism might see the Torah. So whatever the perspective, the Quran is our sacred book. So the Quran stated many chapters describing God, who is God, the features of God. So God, in some of the chapters, is the one and the only one who has the unique features. The features has no one else could have. Because if somebody was associating the God in his description, so he will have the same characteristics of God. So we couldn't claim at that time that He is one. Because we say that He is one and we single God out with our worship, that means He has to have the characteristics that no one else could have. And that is the first point about the monotheism. Our doctrine, our creed, is based on certain pillars. And you will find all of these pillars that you believe in. So let's count the 6 pillars that we believe in. We believe in God, that He is exist and He is one. And number 2, we believe in the hereafter, in the day of judgment. We believe in the revelation, the books that He sent down through the angel Jibril or Jibrail. So He sent down the revelation from His kingdom to the prophets and messengers, which has the guidance for people, generation after generation. Some of them accepted, some of them refused. For example, when you read in the Bible about Noah and what happened with him, and the story with the ark and the flood, Why God had given them that punishment? Because they denied the message of the prophet Noah. So we believe in the hereafter. We believe in the resurrection. We believe in the day of judgment. We believe in the reckoning, means there will be questions by God to ask us about our deeds, whether it were good or bad. Then we will have people will go to paradise, and we will have people will go to the hellfire based on their deeds, whether they did good or bad in this life. We believe in all the prophets and messengers of God. We believe in all of them without any distinction. We believe in Adam as the father of the prophets and the father of the humanity. We believe in Moses. We believe in Jesus. We believe in Aaron. We believe in Abraham and Isaac, Ishmael, Jacob, Joseph, all the prophets. We believe in those who were named in the Quran, or even those who wasn't named in the Quran. So the Quran mentioned at least 25 prophets and messengers. You will find them exactly as you have them in the Bible. So we believe also one of the things that we consider as pillars of belief. We believe in the destiny, whether it's good or bad, all comes from, the destination, from the destiny of God. And He had written our destiny based on our belief, based on our submission. We believe in the angels, that we have angels, as you believe exactly about Jibrail, about Mikael, about Israfil, all the angels that you find them in the Bible, we believe in all of them. So now can you count how many of these pillars that you can differ with the Islam about? Zero. Because the fundamentals of belief in Judaism, in Christianity, and in Islam are the same. If you want to draw a chart to see what were the common places, you will find all of them, that we believe in all of them. And one of the things that I want to talk about, that Islam has the concept or the rights that all the human beings had agreed upon. Rights for speech, right for believing, right of religion, right of voting, right of, the rights that respecting. And Islam came to fight lots of things during its time, the beginning of Islam. One of these things that Islam came against racism, Islam against hatred, that we have lots of sacred texts in Islam that tells you about the life that you should be in. And when it comes to these things that you have in Quran or the traditional statements of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that when he said, for example, you will not be a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. You will not be a believer until you take care of your neighbors. So all the values, the principles that you have in religion, you will find it in a very broader meaning in the Quran. Equality, respecting, loving, caring, show mercy, spread peace, come against killing, come against murdering, come against terrorists, come against, shedding the blood. All these values are in Islam. For instance, let me give you example here. In Quran, Allah, and the word Allah, some people think that the word Allah is different. By the way, maybe it's the first time you know something like this. The word Allah means the God. It's only an Arabic word. When you translate it, it will be the God. And by the way, when we say and we want to make a supplication to God, we say, oh God, oh my God, oh our God. But what was the word that used by Moses and Jesus, for example, for God? As we know, Moses did not speak English. Jesus did not speak English. So what was the word equivalent in their language to the word God? It might surprise you. Moses used to say Elohim. You might heard that before. Elohim means my God. It's close to the same word that I just said, Allah. Elohim, Allah. And when you think about what Jesus used to call God with, he used to say in Aramaic, he used to say Allah. Allah means God. So this is one of the things that we could find in similarities. So Elohim, Allah, or Allah means God. Because lots of people have misconceptions about Islam, that when we say that we worship Allah, they think that we worship something different. No, the same God, with the same features, the same characteristics, the same attributes. Of course, when we talk about the overview of Islam, we talk about the Quran. We believe that Quran is the last message to the humanity, came through the revelation, through the same mechanism used to come to all the prophets and the messengers. And we look at things very simple and very easy. God has created his creation, and he sent down to them the revelation which has the guidance, and he chose some people to convey this message, to transmit this message. Those people, we call them prophets and messengers, and they are the most noble of the creation of God. So one of them was the Prophet Muhammad, and he was the last of the messengers, the last of the prophets. Came down to him the angel Jibreel, with the last revelation, which is the Quran. And when you find the Quran, when you analyze the words of the Quran, when you try to read a little bit of the Quran, you will find that Quran has no one single contradiction with the beliefs that the normal people are believing in, because Quran came with the same message, the same pattern. They are from the same source as the songs of David, the scriptures of Abraham, the scriptures of Moses, as the gospel, as the words of Jesus to his disciples, as the words of Jesus to his friends, while he's conveying the message of the monotheism. What did he say? All of them agreed upon one statement: God is one, and do not associate any partner with him. So the same concept in the Quran, the same even with the stories. If you want to read about David, about King Solomon, about all the prophets and messengers of God, the journey of Jesus, the journey of Moses, what did he say to his people? What did he say? How did they react? We have a special chapter, the entire chapter named after Noah. Special chapter for Noah. Special chapter for example, Solomon. Special chapter for David. Special chapter for Joseph. We have the entire chapter from the beginning to the end is telling us about the story of Joseph. We have about Jacob, Isaac, all of them. Aaron, how did Aaron support his brother, the prophet Moses? And he was also a prophet. So now you can see the words that you are saying, the names that you know and you are familiar with are exactly the same names that we believe in. And just, in a nutshell, I'm trying to summarize some of the things, lots of the things that you might don't know about Islam. One of the things that also you can find in Islam, in the main principles of Islam, that we believe, as I said, in the oneness of God. We believe that Muhammad was the last of the messengers of God. Besides that, we believe in all the prophets and the messengers of God without any distinction. Let me tell you clearly here, I cannot be a Muslim, I cannot be a good Muslim who practices Islam without believing in Jesus, without believing in Moses. But even if I believed in all of them and I have any any differentiation in the belief in my heart between all those prophets, that means I have a certain corruption in my heart. That means I am not 100% a devoted worshiper to God. The sign that I believe in all of them, that I have in my heart, in my intention, no differentiation between them. So all of them were prophets, all of them were messengers. In many statements in the Quran, or even in the traditional statements of the Prophet Muhammad, he honored Moses, he honored Jesus. He spoke highly about Abraham as he is the father of those who strove for the sake of God, for those who fought to convey the message of love, the message of peace. You might heard that statement before, and I will say it in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. What does it mean? Assalamu alaikum means peace be upon you. Peace be upon you. This is our greeting since 1,400 years ago. The greetings that we greet one another when we see one another. We say Assalamu alaikum. And I'm pretty sure that you have heard from our brothers and sisters in the Jewish community that they say Shalom. Shalom. It's the same. Shalom comes from Shalom. Shalom means peace. We say Salam. And this is the meaning of Islam. The word Islam is driven from the word Salam. And both of them means peace. So our Islam based on peace, based on mercy. Could you imagine the word mercy, just the word mercy? How many times were mentioned in the Quran? Just give me rough time if you could. You could say 30, 50, 100. You know, the word mercy in the Quran more than 500 times. More than 500 times. The Prophet Moses was mentioned in the Quran 135 times. And the thing that might surprise you, that Jesus, peace be upon him, was mentioned in the Quran more than 35 times. And the Quran spoke highly about Jesus. And by the way, Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary, and we call her Mary the Virgin. And we call Jesus the Christ. And by the way, it might surprise you. You believe in him, in Jesus as the Christ. You believe in him as the Messiah. We believe in him as the Christ, as the Messiah, and the thing that might surprise you, we believe in his second coming. And we believe that Jesus is coming back. It is part of our belief. I told you that we have things in common that you can never ever imagine. But I'm sorry to say, lots of people have misconceptions, misunderstandings. They got from the fabricated, statements and news, and someone, I don't know who is, I don't know what is the nature of those people, but someone wanted to get the benefit from creating the clashes between Muslims and others, to give them name, to label them with certain words like, hey, we got terrorists, hey, we got those who killed people, those. Yes, we have some of extremists, very minorities of extremists. They try to take Islam out of its context to get some social and political benefits. But they are not representing us. They are not part of us. And in reality, we are campaigning against them. They are not representing Islam. They are not representing the vast majority of Muslims. If we could say right now we have 2 billion Muslims all over the world, let's say those extremists, how many of them? How many? 500,000? 1 million compared to 2 billion? That's the case. So, and the problem is they started to label the Muslim with these misconceptions. And that takes me to the second part of my session. One of the allegations, one of the accusations that we find that Islam is oppressing women. Islam does not have the freedom for women. Why? They wear the headscarf, they wear this, what you call it, burqa or something, as you see in some movies, some news, and this is also one of the misconceptions that people have about Islam. Islam had respected women and gave rights to women that when you hear them and when you study them, you will find, many times I told my community members that you will never find any place has acknowledged the rights for women as Islam did. And why I'm arguing about this point? Because I studied different scriptures. I studied that in many places. Even doctrines like other than Islam and Christianity and Judaism, I can tell you clearly that Islam spoke highly about women in time that wasn't the custom, that wasn't the tradition 14 centuries ago. And Islam came to fight for the rights of women to the point that the Prophet Muhammad was accused by his people that he is too feminist. So that's the case. But you try to compare the same rules with our current time, and I will tell you, for example, that we know Mary, peace be upon her. Do you know how many times Mary was mentioned in Quran? No. 24 times. 24 times was mentioned with the description of chastity and modesty. 24 times, one of them I can quote and tell you from the Quran. Allah, as you now know, familiar with Allah, or God said, إِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, the angels said to Mary, "Oh Mary, Allah means God has chosen you, has purified you over the rest of his women, the rest of the creation in terms of the gender of women. Means who is number one on the top rank, number one as our belief. If we could say who is in the top list on women, we didn't choose a wife for the Prophet Muhammad. We didn't choose his mother. We didn't, no. Quran had chosen Mary. If that Quran was written by Muhammad, was written by the Prophet Muhammad, he wouldn't choose Mary. He wouldn't choose to honor Mary. And you might say, but because it's a revelation, he couldn't change it. He by himself, the Prophet Muhammad, said 4 women had perfected their religion, had perfected their relationship with God. Number 1 is Mary. This statement of the Prophet Muhammad. Lots of people don't know anything about him. They don't read about Islam. Even when they get some news about Islam, many times I said to people, do not hear about us, but hear from us. Get the knowledge from somebody who is representing Islam, who is qualified to represent Islam. One of the things that he said, that those who perfected their religion, he said the first one is Mary. We have the entire chapter in the Quran named after Mary. The title of this chapter is Mary. We have lots of girls and millions of girls in our societies, in our countries, with that name, Maryam. What's Maryam? Who is Maryam? Is Mary. Maryam in Arabic means Mary. And this is the name of the chapter that you will find in the Quran. What else that you can find is not similar to what we believe in? How Islam looked at women. Islam considered the woman is the half of the man in the society. Both of them have social rights and social responsibilities to do. But Islam looked at women with such a beautiful way that you could find that Islam took care of women to the point. And let me tell you that, and this is what I'm teaching my son to follow, that the man in the society is responsible for the woman to take care of her. So that woman, whether will be a wife, number 2, a girl, a daughter, or a mother, or a sister. So 4 types that you will be surrounded with. Number 1, Islam prohibited any relationship with the woman without being married. Any intercourse, any private relationship is prohibited without marriage. And you agree with me that it's the same in the Bible. It is the same in the Torah. Otherwise, what's the definition of adultery? What's the definition of fornication? Adultery is prohibited in all religions. So there is no relationship allowed to be with a female without her permission, without the limitation of marriage. And number 2, Islam considered that taking care of the mother, of the wife, of the daughter, of the sister is one of the actions that will take you to paradise. Not only this, when I spend on my mother, that will open a certain gate in paradise for me. Honoring my mother, respecting her, obeying my father and my mother. It's a sign of worship. It's an act of worship. And we do not have a specific day, like you call it Mother's Day, for example. We consider that every day is a Mother's Day. Every day is a chance to honor, to respect, to love, to take care of your mother. And it's a shameful action in Islam that you do not spend on your mother, that you do not take care of your mother financially. Spend on her. Do not let her work at that age when she reaches 60, 70. It's a sin if you neglected your mother. The man in Islam is the one who spends by the commands, by the revelation that he must, and I mean this word, he must spend on his mother, on his wife, on his daughter, on his sister. On his mother, if his father is no longer, exist. If on his wife, as long as he's, they are still in marriage. And even after marriage, to spend on her and her children. And number 3, one of the things that we need to know about that concept of spending, to spend on the widow, to take care of the orphans, to take care of the widow, in Islam, it's an act of worship. To spend on your daughter till she gets married, it's obligatory in Islam. Islam honored, respected, and took care of women and made it upon the man to take the responsibility. At the same time, as I told you, Islam had prohibited any relationship with the girl out of the limits of marriage. Even you are not allowed to go and marry her without taking the permission of her father. I see nowadays lots of people are living in pain because of what? They took care of the daughter, they raised her up, and all of a sudden a young boy came and took her away from the father without even respecting the father. And that causes pain to all of us as parents. What made that to happen? Islam said, you cannot have the Islamic contract without the permission of the father. And that does not mean that the father will oppress her and use his authority to stop this marriage. No, but honor, respect that person who took care of this child. Respect him. Give him the credit. Give him the credit to celebrate the wedding of his daughter. Do not kill him slowly by that feeling. Someone just knocked the door, say, hey uncle, I will take her, goodbye, and that's it. Could you imagine? What do you feel in your heart when that happens? Will you be satisfied? So Islam said no. That man has to be respected. Islam gave him the right. And not only this, Islam did not ask the girl, the wife, to spend on anything in the house. Not to split the bills, no. The responsibility completely, housing, bills, clothing, medicine, food, upon the man. That's why I gave a lecture before in my community, and you can find it on YouTube whenever you want. Just search Our Queens in Islam by Imam Ali. our queens in Islam. We treat our women are like the queens. One of the misconceptions, the misunderstandings that Islam had oppressed women. That Islam took the freedom from the women not to work. She has to wear that headscarf. And let me tell you something. When you find the Christmas time, what do you find people are putting? If we want to get a picture for Mary, what do you find? How Mary looks? How Mary looks? Covers. And what Bible said about those who does not cover their hair? They said, the Bible said, you must shave their hairs. Because in Islam, it's a sign of chastity, of modesty. When I came new to the United States, on the Christmas time, I found the statue of Mary, and she's holding a baby. I figured out that this is Jesus. And there is a man with long dress and beard and a turban over his head. I asked, who is that person? They said, this is Zechariah. This is Zechariah. Zechariah, the one who used to take care of Mary. He is dressing exactly like me, or I'm dressing like him. Long dress with beard and a turban. I said, those are Muslim families. If you took that picture and send it to Egypt, people will be familiar with those. The same concept. So why do you think that covering that, it's an oppression? And we give the Islam give the women the right to wear it or not to wear it. If she wear it, she will be a worshiper. No one is forcing her. If she decided not to wear it, that will be an act of sin. She will be a sinner in perspective of Islam, and Allah will ask her on the day of judgment, not me, not anyone else. Women in Islam has the right to work and to earn money. And by the way, that might surprise you, and that will let lots of women to love this idea. In Islam, if the woman worked and she earned money, she is not required to spend that money on the house. She is not required. The money is hers, and the responsibility still upon the man. If they agreed and they came to mutual agreement with her freedom that she is going to give, that she is doing that and she is so satisfied. No one is forcing her. No one is telling her, no, you must do that, otherwise you will be kicked out of the house. The responsibility upon the man. So imagine, I am a Muslim who is required to spend on my mother, to spend on my daughter, to spend on my wife, to spend on my sister if she does not have a husband, if she does not have someone to take care of her. Maybe all of the sudden, I find myself that I have to spend on all of them. Islam considered women like the second half of men, to consult them, to follow their ideas, to respect them, to give them the right to speak, the right to work. Islam, 14 centuries ago, gave the women the right to vote. To vote. To the point, you just tried to do that, let's say, humans, the people tried to do that 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Islam came against slavery. Islam against racism, against, considering the woman a second class. All these values that we in 2022 started to initiate and propagate for, and we started to declare proudly, Islam 14 centuries ago had declared. That's the reality. It is a fact. We have a special chapter in Quran named after women. It has all the rights of women. And by the way, we do not, as men, we do not have a special chapter named after men. That's why I told you, if you try to compare the situation in 2022 with 14 centuries ago, the people of Quraysh is the name of the tribe in Mecca, right now in Saudi Arabia. The people of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they accused him at his time that he was so feminist and he gave the rights to women more than men. And it's a fact that we need to know. Women has the right to inherit in Islam. Women treated our queen as queens in Islam. So she can stay at the house if she wanted. If she wanted, she could stay in the house and the man will go to work. We believe that all men and women are equal. But every person, everyone has his own social rule. The man to work and get the money to spend. The wife is to raise up the children, take care of her house, do the stability and have the stability in the house, take care of the man, take care of the children, raise them up properly, give them the ethics, the morals, how to live such honorable life, close to God. And if she decided to work, yes, we have doctors, engineers, we have professors, we have lots of women, they work with no problem, no limitation for that point. She can work as long as both of them, the men and women, can do and fulfill their responsibilities. I think now, after this time, I'm sorry for taking too much time, but I tried as much as I can to reduce the gap, to build the bridges, so we can get a better idea about what is Islam about. So that might change your look to Islam. Before I start, you might have a certain background about Islam. Those barbaric terrorists who came, but the reality is different. Islam based on love, mercy, peace. We believe in all the prophets and messengers without any distinction. We follow the guidance of Abraham, Moses, Jesus. We follow the guidance of Prophet Muhammad, as he is the seal and the last of the prophets of God. Just remember the 6 pillars that I mentioned to you. See how many of them that you agreed upon. And finally, I just wanted to extend my thanks to Anna for the invitation and for the pastor for allowing me to talk. And thank you for giving me the time. At the end of the day, we cooperate, we live, and we strive to achieve peace and prosperity. At the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters in humanity. At the end of the day, all of us work together in harmony, in solidarity, so we can be one united nation. Thank you so much. And may God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.